Hello and welcome to the first news episode for fall 2021. We hope you all had a fantastic summer and first half of the semester, and we're so excited to finally be back in our studio. So without further ado, let's jump right into the news.
As of October 6th, according to the SUNY COVID case tracker, Binghamton had done 3,532 total on-campus tests in a rolling 14-day period, with 31 on-campus positives and 4 off-campus positives, for a total of 35. Cases at the university peaked in the beginning and middle of September, but fell off at the end of the month, causing positivity to drop substantially. As of October 6th, there were no students in quarantine and only 11 in isolation, with 9 students isolating off-campus and 2 isolating on-campus. 99% of quarantine rooms were available. A Beeline email from President Stanger on September 7th in response to concerns about the spread of COVID on campus mentioned that the university believed that as of September 28th, 98% of students would be vaccinated. Being that we're now in October, we can expect that the percentage of vaccinated students is around that number. Stanger describes how the campus testing capacity and isolation quarantine room availability would go to where it was last year to support students and keep the campus as safe as possible. Vaccinated students, according to university policy, exposed to COVID but asymptomatic can continue going to classes, but should monitor their symptoms and get tested if necessary. Vaccinated students aren't required to be tested weekly, but may get an infrequent email to get tested. As of October 5th, according to the New York COVID vaccine tracker, 64% of New Yorkers have been fully vaccinated and 72 had gotten their first dose. Over 25 million doses had been given. As mentioned in news.governor.ny, the 7-day average positivity in New York State was 2.3% as of that same day.
In social media news, Facebook and its affiliate companies were down on Tuesday, October 5th, in what became the longest Facebook outage since 2019. The problem started around noon and lasted until around 6 that evening. Although it was later revealed to be the result of a breakdown in connection between data centers during a routine maintenance operation, the timing of the incident was particularly suspicious. Only a day before, the Facebook whistleblower was featured in the cover story of that week's edition of 60 Minutes. Frances Haugen is a data scientist who has worked at companies such as Google and Pinterest before being invited to join Facebook's Civic Integrity Division in 2019. Integrity's primary goal was to stop misinformation in the build-up to the 2020 presidential election. However, shortly after the election, the division, along with much of the safeguards on misinformation, were quietly abandoned. In the wake of the January 6th insurrection, Haugen, who felt betrayed by the company's inaction, began leaking internal documents to the Securities and Exchange Commission, revealing how Facebook had lied about the effectiveness of its efforts to prevent hate crimes and misinformation. In an internal study published this year, Facebook concluded that it took action against as little as 3 to 5% of posts labeled as hateful and less than 0.6% of posts labeled as violent and inciting. Haugen explained that this inaction is the result of a clear conflict of interest. As she put it, Facebook makes more money when you consume more content. People enjoy engaging with things that elicit an emotional reaction, and the more they get exposed to, the more they consume. Such conflicts even extend to Instagram, where an internal study revealed that 13.5% of teen girls believe Instagram made thoughts of suicide worse, and 17% said that using the app made their eating disorders worse. Just like with political content, the strong feelings of depression hook teens, thereby bringing more money for Facebook, while also bringing more depression for teens. Haugen has since filed a complaint to the Securities Exchange Commission, the primary financial regulator, because Facebook has neglected its duty as a publicly owned company to disclose harmful information with its stockholders.
To all students planning to move off campus next year, the time to figure out your housing situation is now. Good off-campus houses and apartments are leasing now and being taken fast. But watch out for shady practices amongst Binghamton landlords. A recent Pipe Dream article written by Willa Scolari goes into detail about schemes landlords use to take advantage of first-time tenants. These tactics include hiding extra charges in contracts, allowing their properties to stay in disrepair, and keeping security deposits unjustly. Look out for these when leasing. Always read your rental contract and make sure you can take a tour of a place before you agree to rent it for the upcoming year. A good idea might be to ask students who have rented before about which landlords to avoid and which ones they suggest. Also, make sure you find your future roommates as soon as possible. Landlords want to fill their spaces completely, so you'll need a full house to rent. There are many avenues you can take to go about finding flatmates if you don't already have a group set up. In her article, Scolari talks about Binghamton University's off-campus programs and services roommate matching assistance. But if you're not keen on using that, Facebook is another great way to find people to live with. Happy house hunting and stay safe.
We are now well into midterm season here at Binghamton University, a fact we are sure is dreaded by students across all majors and disciplines. Whether you have a test, paper, or presentation, or a combination of all three, we here at BTV wish you the best of luck in your studying and hope you remember to take care of your physical and mental well-being. Remember to get as much sleep as possible, eat at least one substantial meal a day, and know when to take breaks as you pace yourself studying. You all got this.
Marvel Studios' Eternals movie, directed by Chloe Zhao, is releasing less than a month from now on November 5th, 2021. Marvel Studios has done a lot of promotion on social media recently for the movie. Marvel Studios' Hawkeye, Disney Plus show starring Jeremy Renner and Haley Steinfeld, is debuting on November 24th, 2021. The first trailer was released a few weeks ago on September 13th. Daniel Craig's era as James Bond has come to an end with No Time to Die, released on October 8th. The film is over 2.5 hours long and has good reviews so far, with an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 70 on Metacritic as of October 6th. Venom, Let There Be Carnage was released on October 1st. Audiences so far have enjoyed the film, with an 85% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes as of October 6th. The movie, according to Box Office Mojo, has also done well with ticket sales, landing a $90 million domestic debut, smashing the pandemic-era record, and also took in a first-week global box office total of $104 million. James Wan's last horror flick, *Malignant*, has maintained a certified fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes as of October 6th, a few weeks after its release, despite receiving mixed reviews from audiences. This marks the 5th time Wan has received a certified fresh rating in his career. As described on Forbes.com, Marvel Studios' Shang-Chi movie, their first film with an Asian lead, as of Monday, October 4th, reached a domestic cume of $206.7 million, making it the biggest grossing movie of 2020 and 2021 so far.
We're looking at a relatively nice and dry week compared to the weather we had last week, as a high-pressure front from the south and west moved into town. Today should be mostly cloudy and humid, with a high of 72. Overnight, the clouds should clear up for a relatively mild night, with lows barely going below 60. Wednesday's looking to be the warmest day of the week. There will be bright skies throughout the day and highs reaching 75 and above. The high humidity will stay in place into Wednesday night, as we're looking at another warm night with a low of 58. Things will start to cool down a bit as we get to the end of next week. Thursday will remain relatively warm with a high of 71 and a low of 57. But Friday, clouds will return with highs only around 67 and a cooler night with a low of 55. Prepare to bundle up a bit for Saturday. Although the high is supposed to be 61, a blustery southeast wind gust throughout the day could make it only feel like the mid to upper 50s. The cloudy weather will continue into the end of the week, although Sunday should be a bit warmer than Saturday and a bit less windy. However, we're still only looking at 63 by midday. We'll stay cool into next week. Monday we'll see mixed intervals of cloud and sunshine with a high around 56. However, the cold will only intensify after sundown, reaching a low of 48. Tuesday will start with a chance of showers in the early morning hours, and a relatively cool day will happen. The thermometer will only hit 53 with partially cloudy skies. The low will be 42. Wednesday will be a bit nicer than Tuesday, but still cool. Clear skies for most of the day with a high of 56. Clouds will roll on Wednesday night, producing a chilly low of 44.
Well, Binghamton, that's all we have for you in the news for this week. Keep up with your midterms and other assignments and make sure you get food and plenty of sleep. We'll be back next week with more updates, so be sure to tune in. Have a good one.